creatures. We're constantly seeking satisfaction, and yet some of the most common available sources for satisfaction we tend to just dismiss or discount or ignore. And one of those things that I think has the potential to be just fantastic is toast. And I think it's simple enough to say, okay, yeah, just start paying attention to enjoying toast. But I don't know, for most people, that whole just be mindful, just be paying attention isn't really enough. I like to use a story or a memory, something to attach to whatever it is that I've decided to focus on, to be mindful of, in order to kind of have a cue to remind me, oh yeah, I really need to pay attention to this. This is fantastic. I should be deriving satisfaction from this. And so one of the ways that I do this with toast is by remembering a little story from Alice in Wonderland. Now you may or may not remember, but as she falls down the rabbit hole, and she's down there and she's kind of stuck. She's in this like the cavernous place with a door that's too small for her to get through. And then she encounters a vat. And it's a bit of potion, just like this, that says, "Drink me," if you can read that. And sort of, she's a bit skeptical, but she's like, well, you know, what are my other options? So she takes a sip. And to her astonishment, and she's being very mindful because she's shrinking as this happens, but to her astonishment, all of these flavors hit her. She's got roast turkey and pineapple and toffee, and at the very end, hot buttered toast. And ever since actually playing Alice in a play, I can't encounter hot buttered toast without thinking of that experience and that monologue, and just the idea that Lewis Carroll incorporated something as simple as toast into this potion that included all these other banquet items. I mean, you've got like cherry custard, and I just picture like this beautiful banquet set out, and somehow in there toast got incorporated because it's like this really lovely, delicious, rich thing, despite its its availability and how common it is. So today I'm going to show you sort of how I go through the process of making toast and the stories and cues that help me to be a bit more mindful of it. So first we'll start out with this fantastic, relatively new invention, the toaster. Because before the toaster, people were literally like till 1910, people were either sticking bits of toast onto sticks or wire contraptions and putting them over a fire, or kind of putting them up next to the stove. But there are all kinds of reports of even the first toaster, how people were kind of like scorching their fingers, trying to turn the toast, you know, messing with the wire in the contraption to get it the perfect even this perfectly even goldenness. So okay, we've got our toaster. Then of course we need a slice of bread. And I'm going to use this kind of whole wheat seeded manna from heaven, but you can use any sort of bread that is your favorite. It can come off of a hunk off of a baguette, or just pull it out of one of those bags of pre-sliced bread. It doesn't matter. I think one of the most fantastic things about bread and about toast is it is so common. It is so relatively inexpensive and so available that this really is something relatively mundane that anybody can choose to experience if they'd like to. And as you're cooking the toast, something that's interesting to note is that the word toast actually comes from toastum, which is Latin for scorched. So it's kind of like you're practically saying an incantation over your bread as it's being tended to in the toaster. It's like, okay, regular kind of floppy slice of bread, be the scorched. And the word toast, as in like to give a toast, it also comes from toast because people way back incorporated toast or bread, this kind of dry stale bread that had been transformed over the fire into something much more palatable, was incorporated into these religious ceremonies. And I'm talking about before just communion or Eucharist. It's been a part of this sort of religious way of saying something magical and making an offering that was a transformation for a long time. So we've got our toast. And first I want you to smell it, because there really is now this, just think, it's this fresh baked bread aroma that it's kind of the toaster is pulled out from the bread once again. And then, of course, we need our butter. And I am pretty picky about what I indulge on, but one thing that I will not sacrifice is butter. So you got spread a nice amount of butter onto your toast here. And watch how it just turns from this kind of, just bland white until this beautiful, just glistening, molten yellow. It's like, it takes on almost like a honey color. So after you have smelled your bread and taken a good look at, this now golden morsel with this beautiful lake of butter floating on top, I want you to really taste it, because the layers of flavor that toast has, it makes you really begin to understand why Lewis Carroll included it in that speech, because it does have this richness to it. There is almost this caramel, toffee nuttiness that you get from the bread, but with the butter, it's just that dash, that sprinkling of saltiness that makes it kind of both savory and sweet at the same time. And the idea is that I think we go to most things, anytime we take like a coffee break or a tea break, or we fix ourselves a bit of toast, sometimes what we're really looking for is some kind of rejuvenation. We're looking to be transformed. We've hit a wall with work or whatever we're doing. We need something to push us to get something done or to refocus. But by turning to these things, toast or coffee, and not actually paying attention to the satisfaction that's offering up, to the transformative power that it is within it, we end up just not getting that motivation, not getting that level of satisfaction from it. And so the possibility of toast to give you that extra bit of joy, that extra bit of, okay, I can do it. Motivation. It's there. And just think, like, the next time that you encounter a bit of toast, it could be as simple as just paying attention to it and to have that extra bit of joy in your life, that extra bit of, wow, like, life is not so bad. I've got hot buttered toast, just like Alice, only not like Alice. You don't have to shrink and you actually get to taste the real thing. And I think it's important. You may be looking at this going, wow, I wish my experience of toast, like the way I tasted toast, was anything like hers. But it is impossible for my experience to be any better than what you could potentially experience, provided you take the time to actually pay attention to it and to enjoy. So give it a try. It's something that I like to call mundane, but magical.